Alright, so we're back to talk about rifle hardware. First thing I'm going to start talking about is like sling hardware. That's a big thing for getting that like added bit of noise without adding too much weight onto the rifle with like lugs or adding this band or like your stacking swivel or just like other parts. Maybe like the Naraya parts kit for the bolt that allows it to like make a little bit more noise. But first things first, I'm going to talk about right here. I'm not exactly sure what this bit is called. You've probably all seen it on like school rifles or whatever.
I think it's called like a sling clip.
Like the sling clasp or clip or whoever. Who cares? But like listen to the sound of the sling like if I'm holding it still. There's nothing. You're losing out on opportunity for noise without much like return. Like yes, it's a little bit less metal on the stock. It's less to grab on, hurt yourself. But at the same time, here's the sound of the rifle without that. Pretty good. And now it's just like. It's figuring out exactly like how much noise you're willing to make while sacrificing, like a little bit of like hand safety. So there's like a clip you can use right here. If I'm running a trigger guard, then I always run that because while yes, you're adding extra metal onto the rifle and extra hardware, with that comes more noise. So it's risk versus reward. Is it valuable enough to you, like that extra little bit of noise, to have those extra pieces of metal? And to me it is. To somebody like Naraya Garin, like he's more like minimalist with his parts. See, shaved trigger, shaved bolt. Generally, like sometimes he'll run, shaved barrel even on like his parts, like his full parts kits with like his helixes. But it just depends on like what your preference is and what you're willing to go with. I personally, for competitions, I even run this front band because I like the ability to have the handguard be a little bit looser and get that extra return in noise, even if I am, subjecting myself to a little bit of extra pain like this. I catch on like the sling hanger, and I always use a bent sling hanger, but even still, when you catch on it like right on the knuckles, it'll still end up hurting. So it's just about risk versus reward. Is it worth it to you?
Tape at the end, by the.
I'll talk about the tape here in a second. But generally, for competition, the less tape, the better. Because the tape secures your rifle, it stops your handguard from moving, it latches your stuff down, and when your stuff is all latched down and cinched down, can't move at all, then you're losing out on noise. And I always tighten my rear screw. I typically use a front screw right here, so this screw, you've all probably been told to take it out because it is more noise. It is, but at the same time, it'll blow out the back of your stock. So is that worth it to you to destroy your stock after enough time and just run the rear screw for that extra little bit of noise? But to me, personally, it isn't. So I run that front screw and I run the rear screw, but I have that front screw really loose, like barely in there, just a couple threads, enough to, latch it down, stop the receiver from moving back and then blowing out the back of your stock. But I always tighten the rear screw really tight, like max tightness. I don't want that moving anywhere. I don't want the receiver to have the option to wiggle back and forth, because to me that's annoying. You're changing the variables on your stock, and I don't like that. I don't like my receiver being able to move around. I want my goods standing on the inside and my parts being beat in and ready to go, being the deciding factor on the noise for my stock. And from there, it's all about finding out what you like. And on to the next segment, I'm gonna go into like taping. Alright, so for taping, this front screw, or this receiver, the front screw is stripped. It's an 07 parts, it's 07 hardware, so it's old, it's gonna be, you know, messed up. It's got a lot of wear and tear. But what matters is that the rear screw is tight. But since this front screw is stripped, I still have the front screw in there to keep the bolt in place because this is a parts kit. But even still, if it is stripped, you can still use that front screw to help the receiver from shooting back and blowing open your stock. But I use a little bit of tape to just keep that screw in there. And I always tape, no matter what, I tape my sling down right here in the middle, like right at the back of the handguard. I always tape. It's kind of like a personal thing. I've grown to like it. But always right here, I like to leave about like a 1/4 of an inch between the back of the handguard and here. I always tape here, no matter what. No matter if I'm using full hardware, like stacking swivel right here, you know, band, lower band, receiver ring, you know, all the parts. No matter what, I still tape right here because that'll keep your sling, you know, tape if that's what you like. But that also stops your handguard from, let's say something bad happens while you're performing. Your handguard shoots out, you want that tape there to, you know, be that like final little like protection, that like safeguard, that like stopgap. Then tape here. Typically for practice, if I'm like just practicing, messing around, having fun, learning new stuff, then I do full tape. I don't use my front band. I don't use my stacking swivel. I don't use like my ring typically, like the receiver ring typically. I just use tape because that allows me to put my hands wherever I want. But the tape just allows you to grab the rifle in more places without worrying about hurting your hands. Alright, so the biggest part about this is tape how you like. Nobody's going to tell you that you have to tape your sling right here, that you have to tape your sling here, that you have to tape it, you know, here if you want. You have to, you know, leave this free. You have to tape, you know, right here like I used to. It's about figuring out what you like. And again, as we were talking about with sling hardware, it's about finding out what you like and what makes you happy. Some people like running no tape. Yeah, but another thing is you can tape right here. That'll keep your handguard from going up. A lot of newer drillers, when they first start, like they'll start out on Daisies or like Drill America's stocks that really don't make a lot of noise, even after they're beat in quite a bit. And so they'll take this front band off and they'll just leave it up, and then they'll go catch like a single, and since the stock, like the handguard shoots up a little bit, and chances are they haven't deburred it, it'll give them gnarly blood blisters.
Oh my god, this is literally gonna be hours of my life editing, dude. This is gonna take longer than scenes.
Wesley, I hope you know I'm looking at you in the future right now.
I'm gonna send you.
You're gonna look back on this video and you're gonna think about all the fun times you literally just had with me, and you're gonna be like, "Oh man, that Carson Cooper guy, I'd go up and down on it for free."
You should send me all of it so I can edit all of it for you, okay?
No.
No, because Jaden's just gonna post it, and only the bad stuff. God.